Hey, good afternoon, Ace NextGen and friends. My name is John Victoria, and I serve as Vice President of Ace NextGen, the DC chapter. On the business side, I run a digital marketing agency named Pollyanna that helps home service providers, HVAC contractors, plumbers, and roofers book more qualified jobs through Google search without having to compete with customers like on HomeAdvisor, Angie's List, or Yelp. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Jonathan Chen, co-founder of FiscalNote. And just a little bit about Jonathan. Jonathan is one of the most incredible people that I know, an ambitious startup founder who I have much admiration and respect for. For a short preview into what he's working on, here is a few of his businesses. So I mentioned FiscalNote Inc., which is using cutting-edge AI and machine learning to change the way the world looks at open data. And they're currently on track to IPO with 500 employees located here in the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. Also, he's working on Boba Meets Bagel, dating website for Asians in English-speaking countries inspired by the popular Facebook group Subtle Asian Dating. And third, Orange Now LLC, which is the first online Asian grocery store acquired. He's also on Inc. Magazine 30 Under 30 and BizNow DC 25 Under 25. And so for today, Jonathan will be lifting the hood on the strategies that he used to grow his IG page, HACC University, a community of hackers and designers honoring the world of tech, which grew from 0 to 86,000 starting from October 2019. And so I'll say that I've been licking my chops in anticipation ever since I heard about the presentation. So please make sure to take out your pens and notebooks for this session. Without further ado, here is Jonathan Chen.
Wow, thanks, John. Thanks for that wonderful introduction. So I have some slides here, and I'm going to just quickly share this. There we go. Cool. So today I'm going to be talking mostly about growing your social media. Given the current pandemic, a lot of people, you guys want to focus more online and trying to grow your businesses online. And what better to do than growing your social media channels to help with your online businesses. So I founded a social media company, or not social media company, social media or an Instagram page in October 2019 called HACC University. It was mainly just a thing that me and my brother did, highlighting tips on tech and design. And I wanted to grow it as much as possible. It was a kind of a challenge for me to tackle this new problem. And I basically applied everything I knew in business to try to grow this channel. So John already highlighted some of my companies, but just to quickly go over it again, I'm one of the founders of FiscalNote, a DC-based tech company. And the company I run right now is called Patha, where we do logistics in the restaurant industry. And then last year, I founded a small dating website called Boba Meets Bagel, which was inspired by Southern dating. And my current project right now that I work on the side is called HACC University, which right now is just an Instagram page that I've been trying to grow. And that's what we're going to highlight today. So a lot of people, when you want to grow a social media channel, a lot of people think, it's somewhat luck. And I tend to disagree with that. I think you can really, if you focus and think about growing social media as if it's a business, then it's really not that much so luck versus two important qualities. And these important qualities and traits that you have to think about when you are growing a social media channel are having good content and consistent promotions. And you need both. And you can't do one without the other. You can't have really good content. Otherwise, you need a lot of luck to actually grow it. And you can't just promote really bad content because it would just be a waste of your money. So one thing when I looked at growing the social media channel, I didn't really think of it as like a social media thing. Like I said before, I thought of it as a business. And when you think of it like that, you need to think of it as if, you don't really have a product you're trying to sell, but your product is actually your content. And you need to invest some form of capital, whether it's money or a lot of your time into it. And that will actually help you grow a lot faster. And when you start thinking of it from this point of view, getting to like 100,000 followers or 10,000 followers becomes a lot little bit more, a little bit easier. So the first thing I want to talk about is good content. Now, what is good content? A YouTuber that I talked to that I learned a lot of really great techniques from once told me that when it comes to virality, there are really 3 traits that you should focus on. The first most important thing is emotions. So what this means is when you create your content, whether it's images or videos, you need to think about what will, what type of reaction you want your audience to get out of, to get out of it. Like, do you want your audience to be sad? Do you want your audience to be happy, mad? Do you want them to laugh? What emotion do you want to elicit? Now, the reason why this is important is because the very reason that people share content is because they feel something from your posts, from your video, from your images, your content. So if you're not able to extract any emotions from that, from your audience, they won't share. They simply just won't share. And the next thing is about storytelling. If you can tell a good story, then your content is more likely to be shared. And the last one is controversy. So this one's an interesting one. So for this in particular, if you're able to say something that's kind of controversial, people are more likely to share because they either are against your opinion in which they're commenting or whatnot, or they're for your opinion in which they want to share that, right? Now, there are other certain techniques that you can use when you're actually creating content. And one of them is a really popular one that works really well are lists. And when I say lists, I mean creating content that's something like, top 5 programming languages in the industry right now. That's just an example. So you make a list of top 5 something or like top 10 something, and people are always generally curious about those type of pieces of content when they're scrolling, right? Other things that you should consider would be hooks. So that you've probably seen this before, but maybe didn't notice it. But a lot of great content out there, they take the best part of their video or their piece of, or their piece of content, and they place it at the very beginning. So it kind of hooks you in. And then, they would just show like maybe 10 seconds of the best part of the video, and then they just go straight into the beginning. And then you'll see that part later on in the video. That's called a hook. Other things would be trying to come up with really clickbaity titles. So an example would be, instead of saying like how to start a YouTube channel as like a video title, you can say, this simple trick will make it easier to start to grow your YouTube channel. And then the viewer will be wondering, what is that simple trick? So there's that little type of thing you can do. The other more important thing, really important thing that you can do is ride the trend waves. So for example, let's say you are, let's say the Avengers movie, they came out last year, right? And the Avengers, the movie was everywhere on social media. What you can do is you can create content that kind of mixes in with the Avengers. It doesn't have to be about the Avengers, but you can say something about the Avengers or whatnot, and you ride that wave. You ride that popularity wave. So an example would be, let's say you are a Instagram page that makes cakes or something, or a YouTube channel that makes cakes. And what you do is, since the Avengers movie is really popular right now, you can make a cake that with like an Iron Man cake and post about that. So you ride the trend wave. But ultimately, these are just little tricks to create good content. But really, if you really want to study up on what is good content, you follow the top pages in your niche, and you look at all their posts, their videos, or whatnot, and you start to see a trend on what they're doing. And after you probably watched or consumed about hundreds of posts or videos, you start to see what type of content does well, and then you start to understand what you should be putting into your own content. Now, when you start promotions, you should always promote your best content and not just some random piece of content that you have. So going on to promotions. Promotions is the other half. So you have good content right now. You now need to have consistent promotions. Now, I used to think this is luck, and a lot of people probably think it's luck. It's really not luck. It's honestly, it's actually easier than creating good content, because good content is kind of subjective, right? But promotions are repeatable and they're predictable. And what exactly is a promotion? So a promotion could be, getting a shout out from other pages, or getting your post, your piece of content, reposted on other pages' stories or their channels or their Instagram page, and they tag you in it. And if a page, say that you get your post to be shared by a page with 1 million followers, you're going to get like a lot of followers that day. So how do you start this? So what I did was, I actually, for my niche, HACC University, I'm in the tech and design niche. I went on Instagram and I basically searched keywords in my niche. I searched like programming, I searched computer science, and then I looked at all the top pages that popped up. And I followed pretty much 200, I think 200, 300 pages of, with 10,000 plus followers in my niche. And I messaged all of them. And I was like, hey, how much for promotion? Or would you do a story for story shout out? So that means like, would you share my story and I'll share your story? And a lot of them won't message you back, but some will. And they might charge you, $10, $20 to make a post or a story, and you just pay it. And then you'll notice you keep doing this and you just start to get a lot of followers. Now, the thing is, promotions only work if your content's good. So it's kind of a chicken egg problem here, in which you're going to be spending money promoting your content, but the ones that aren't good won't do well. And you start to learn what doesn't do well and what does do well. And you will, spend a little bit more money in the beginning just to experiment and just to understand what does well and what doesn't do well. So with that said, going to the experiments and adjusting, the more you post, the more you promote, the more you start to understand, like I said, understand what works and what doesn't. And just to give you an idea of what I went through with HACC University to get to 86,000, the first 10,000 followers was the hardest, because I was trying to figure out what type of content, what's my style, who to promote to, what type of channels, and all that stuff in the beginning. And I spent about $1,960 to get the first 10,000 followers in promotions. I think it was like maybe 50 promotions I did the first 10,000. And but then after doing those, I studied every promotion I did. I studied, what went well, what didn't go well. And the next 40,000, I only spent $800. So for the next 40,000 followers that I got, I only spent $800 in promotions. So you have to be able to adjust and experiment really quickly to see what works and what doesn't, in order to grow faster and spend less. But in the beginning, it's all about experimenting and understanding your niche and your audience and what content does well. And just to give you another sense of what an experiment I did, I actually spent $120 on Instagram ads promoting my post, and it did not do well at all. So I stopped it. And I realized that Instagram ads aren't that great for promotions for my content. So lastly, I want to talk about basically, it's truly just for social media, it's all about consistency. I was doing about 15 to 20 promotional posts a month. And I was just messaging hundreds of pages and being like, hey, how much for promotion? Or like, hey, do you want to do a story for story? And the more you post, the more you promote, the faster you grow. If you don't do any promotions, then you just won't grow. That's just the way it is. If your business does no marketing or no sales, you won't grow, right? So it's the same concept here. Now, some of you might be wondering, okay, well, how do I get from 0 to 1,000 followers, right? That's really tough. Really, for 0 to 1,000 followers or subscribers, that is, you basically just ask your friends and family. I would say 0 to 1,000 is like friends and family. 1,000 to 10,000 is where you should probably do. If you don't have money, like you would go to pages in a similar follower bucket as you. So like if you have 1,000 followers, you should message pages with 1,000 to 10,000 followers and try to do a story for story shout out where you don't pay anything. You just post their story, they post your story, or a post for post. So they post your post and you post their post, and you do that organically till you get to 10,000. In which case, if you don't want to spend any money, this is the strategy that you should do, in which you would just find people in the same follower bucket as you and just do a, an eye for an eye technique, right? But that would take a really long time. That might take years and years to get to, 10,000, 20,000 followers. If you want to speed that up, that's when you invest. You invest money into your social media. So to get to 86,000 followers, I spent $4,536.20. I have a spreadsheet of all the promotional posts I made and roughly, what I learned from each post, just to understand how, going forward, what have I learned from, this promotional post. So, right. So basically, it seems like, a lot of money, but like I said, it's an investment. And I also have been making money from this as well. Like I do promotional posts for other people. I have brands that I'm starting to work with that I'm going to be making my money back in the next 2 months, that the money I invested in, and then therefore I'll be making more money. So it's an investment and it is a risk, but that's every business, right? Now, the last thing I want to talk about really quickly is you might be thinking, there's a lot of competition in your niche. There's a lot of pages that do the same thing. And I want to tell you that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because if you think of it this way, if you are obsessed with a topic, if you really love a topic so much, you will consume as much content in that topic. For example, if I love Harry Potter, I go to YouTube, I will watch all the videos on Harry Potter, like a specific topic maybe. And it doesn't matter who's posting that video or who's making that post. I'll probably follow their channel or watch their content. So with that, I want to end my really quick presentation. My Instagram again is HACC University. We do tech and design. Please follow it if you like our content. And you can email me personally if you have any more questions about how to grow your social media at jonathan@FiscalNote.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. And my biggest takeaway from your presentation was treat your social media like a business. And for 4.5 thousand, a reach of 86,000, that's absolutely incredible. So I hope everyone is able to take away some great learning lessons from Jonathan. And also, if you'd like to learn and hear more from Jonathan, we're planning on doing a longer event with him for ACE NextGen DC in July or August. So looking forward to that. But yeah, that should be it for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining Jonathan's session.
Thanks again. Thanks, guys.